season 8. Hello, everybody. What's up? This is the Rookie Critic. I'm not doing any formal streaming tonight, just talking some Game of Thrones, because it only took till after season 8, till after I saw a bunch of videos of people criticizing season 8, that I'm like, maybe I should give Game of Thrones a try. Where I'm like, everybody suggested it to me for a long time, and I wanted to have time to watch it, so that's why I never really watched it. And but then now, after season 8 and all the divisiveness and everything, I'm like, man, this show has got to be something to be that well praised, and then all of a sudden turn on a dime, the dime turn. Like I want to see this, so now I'm seeing it, and I'm enjoying it so far. I like it. I can see why a lot of people liked it in the first place, and I can imagine it must be more suspenseful, not knowing spoilers. I know a lot of spoilers, so I'm like, okay, I know that character's up till season 8, so like Arya, yeah, she is going to live, of course. The Lord of Light, I don't know if she actually dies. I didn't see. I don't really know, but I know I got past the part where she's like spews out that demon out of her vagina. In season 2, just like that was weird. Yeah. So what's up, guys?
Oh, not much. Just getting done with a stream like 20 minutes ago with you on a Non-Links channel, and now we're here.
I wasn't talking to you. What's up, moist? Moisturize.
Well, I say I was just laying down watching South Park, and then I saw Game of Thrones hang out. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Despite my disgust with the 8th season, I will always be ready to talk some Game of Thrones.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I was going to say hello to our viewers, Teresa Martin, what's up, and Artico. Okay, so now we can start. That's all. I feel like this will be a shorter stream. It's just, just talking some Game of Thrones from, the rookie's perspective, walking in. Yeah, I do like how in the whole first, 9 episodes, there's literally no magic or anything mystical. It seems pretty grounded. You could see this in, some type of historical thing. It seems like it's just, playing off real nice. And there's mythical stories about giants in the past and other things with powers, but those are all gone now. And then at the end, it kind of gets toward the, there's zombies that can come back to life. There's a witch that does something weird to Drogo. Is that it for Drogo, by the way? I don't care if it's spoiled, because I'm like, I could have sworn the way people talked about him before, in the earlier years, is that as if he lasts for a few seasons and is a badass mofo. No, he's dead.
You'll see him one more time in a flashback vision kind of thing. But yeah, he is dead.
Okay, because Jason Momoa, I think, is freaking tight, but yeah, I think that's kind of smart that they kill him off. Yeah, I mean, I do kind of like how they kill off some characters like that, because it's I would see him as the actor. They would make him last longer. No, that doesn't matter. What's that guy? One of Baratheon's brothers. I just got past that episode where he gets killed.
Renly.
Yeah, I'm halfway into season 2 right now, so I'm gonna talk about season 1 and where I'm at with season 2, kind of. And I like that. I was like, okay, I'm on board. They're setting up a battle between him and his brother's army or something, and they're gonna try to join up the Starks and everything. Nope, a shadow demon comes in and kills him, and then goes away. And Bran is I assume she's wanted for killing him, or she's just blamed, or a few people know. I don't really know yet what they're doing with her and all that and whatnot. I do know that she shags with Jaime Lannister later, because everybody talks about that.
Rookie, I think Teresa Martin in the chat hit the nail on the head there by saying Jason Momoa, he got reincarnated as Aquaman.
That makes sense. What's up, Sunspot Gallery as well? What's up? But yeah, so I'm liking it so far, and I can see why people like it. Rob Stark, or not Rob. Hold on, I had a question. Is it Ned Stark?
Yeah, his real name is Eddard. They just call him Ned for short.
Okay, because I was kind of confused. I was like, is it Neddard Stark, or is his name Ed? And I'm hearing Ends, and I don't know. Because then they're like, what about Eddard? And I'm like, wait, that's like if I had a nickname of I'm Geoff, but then you want to call me Joe. It's like, yeah, but why? Doesn't make any sense. That's what I was thinking.
It's kind of weird they don't just call him Ed, but I guess that doesn't fit with the.
Well, it's like if his name Ned, or Ned is the short term.
Ned is short term. Okay. It's like your name's Richard, and I call you Dick.
Well, yeah, but it's like Eddard. There's no,
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
his real
N.
name.
There's no N is my point. So it's like that's why I was confused. But
I guess
okay.
it just never came across to them that they just call him Ed or Eddie. I don't know.
How many Starks are there? There's the littlest brother. There's Bran. There's Arya. There's I was gonna say Sasha, but Sansa.
Robert.
Rob.
Rob.
The other Theon is not blood related, but he's raised with them.
Correct.
And then Jon is one of them, but also Targaryen.
Yeah.
Something.
You'll figure that out. What season 7?
He's a halfer.
I was actually getting kind of confused with what bloodlines are what, because they're like so many people fuck in this that I'm like, who's offspring of that one who also was them, and who's he what? And then like when they had Joffrey slaughter all the order, like all the bastard sons of Robert or something. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense because there's like 15 or 20 running around.
Like to whore around, so
yeah, I'm like that's kind of interesting with that, and I'm like, God, so many related people to everyone. Like, goddamn. But no, so I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't know every spoiler of everything. Like, I know some spoilers, like the Red Wedding stuff. Some people die, but I don't know who dies in that one. Yeah. I don't know who gets killed specifically.
I say, in the chat, please do not spoil the Red Wedding for him. That is one of the biggest what the F moments in TV history.
I'll leave the chat to you guys to read what's relevant or something, so I don't get spoiled toward what's good plot that I'm coming up against soon. But I don't really know what to say about my whole critique of it. It's just I am liking where it's going. I liked how Ned's death, Robert's death and Ned's death, both of them had a humongous effect on the whole kingdoms, on everybody. Basically, like before they died, before Robert and then before Ned died, things were kind of going in like, okay, puzzle piece kind of format, and then like it's like, nope, okay, 30 people think they're kings now and can rule, and everybody's splitting up into rivalries here and there, and then that one died, so then they switch over here. I'm like, I'm kind of liking that. There's no just big, huge battle confrontation of I'm one person against that. There's all these factions, all these people all around, and they're all have their own goals. They all think they can take over something, and they all think they can conquer. And then, and then they got the wall over there, and they're like, we got to deal with the actual supernatural shit. You want to go back and play war over there? That's cute, but we got to deal with the actual magical shit. So, let's do this out here. So I'm liking that format.
If anything, Game of Thrones is a great analogy for the real world of why we need a wall. Do you want White Walkers coming across the border? I mean, just get with the program, people.
Well, I'm also when I heard a lot of stuff out of context from not seeing the show, like when people would say, that it's been like 1,000 years since any White Walkers have been around, or it's been many years since the giants and other witches and whatnot were around. Okay, I kind of like how people after a while really don't believe it anymore, and like Sam only knows of it because he likes to read, and so he's educated on all this stuff on history, and I'm kind of liking that because they all want to go out and they all don't want to believe it, but it's like that's kind of what they're seeing, so they have to actually kind of react to it, and it's real life for them, and they're used to the normal world, and it's like, okay, now you gotta deal with mystical shit, so you can't just do the normal thing, you gotta try to figure out how to outwit it or something.
Ooh,
yeah, that's and what's interesting and kind of maybe a pitfall of season 8, looking forward since you've seen that already. Bloodhome is the prequel series that's coming out, and they're shooting it right now, and essentially that's going to go through the Long Night, which is what you hear about in season 1 from the old lady with Bran while he's recovering from his fall from thanks to Jamie. So he's asking a lot of questions about the Long Night, and that's basically what we're going to get in the prequel series. But at the downfall is I feel like, we learn more about the White Walkers as we go, but we still never get their full story. And I think that we're going to get that full story in the prequel, which is kind of, I feel like a lazy writing move, honestly. Just be like, we'll just let by Weiss and Benioff by saying, hey, we'll let another series answer this major question that everybody's had since literally the first scene of the entire series deals with the Whites and the White Walkers. So, and ice spiders, Teresa Martin. Yes, we need ice spiders. But Rookie in the chat here, Smooth Jam California wants to know who you're rooting for at this point. The Starks, Greyjoys, Dany, or Stannis? Or we'll say Lannisters as well.
Yeah, that's Lannisters.
Yeah. It's hard to tell because everybody's alliances shift all the time. So I don't know. I would assume that I think the show kind of wants you to be rooting for Rob's team, Rob Stark, I suppose, which that's fine. But I am curious to see what happens with the Greyjoys, with the Theon going over there. I just finished the scene. I'm in season 2 right now, also like halfway into it, and I just got to the part where he's like, "He only gave me one ship. What the fuck am I supposed to do?" And raiding a village, that's not any victory. And he's like, "Yeah, he rewards people who do what they do or something. You do what you're told, or you do what you can do." And he's like, "Oh, there's somewhere else nearby, and they're gonna go try to take that." So I'm kind of curious if he's trying to really go against his brother or not, go against them. I don't really know because I don't know those spoilers. So that's kind of interesting. But I don't really have a team I'm rooting for. I'm just liking seeing the character stuff play out. Especially when we're at the Lannisters stuff. There's deception in every scene, it seems. Like everybody's trying to fuck over somebody in some way or another. So I'm kind of interested to see how that power always shifts.
That's how the Lannisters took Casterly Rock. Basically, they just kind of conned I think House Caster or I think House Caster. I can't remember the house name. Basically, just conned them out of their own home.
So, yeah, it just seemed like all they're doing every sentence they speak is either setting a trap or setting blackmail or something, or giving them a false thing to go do something that with Tyrion, when as the Hand of the King, he just strolls in and he's literally like, "Okay, I'm going to say these things to these people, set these words here and there, see how they react, and know what they do. And okay, I told you not to tell the queen, and okay, you did. So boom, take care of you." And he can see how Ned Stark and everybody has been betrayed because everybody on that small council betrays people. So it's like, okay, I can't really trust anybody with all this stuff, so I have to be vague or tell people different things. And I'm kind of liking that. He's really just trying to sniff everybody out, make sure people are in debt to him. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I love my favorite character. I don't know why is Bronn. He's pretty cool. He's just always hanging around, and he's always able to fight. But he's like, yeah, I don't really care what's going on. Just pay me enough, and that's all right. He's hanging around with the imp, just at first not really caring about him. But then he's like, oh, you're kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Bronn's cool. I'm definitely interested to see how you feel about him once he gets to season 8.
He lives till season 8. Jesus Christ, I would assume he'd die way sooner than that. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of my death predictions.
Yeah, I had him pegged for the end of season 3.
I lost a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but I lost money in season 8. Let's just say that. I formally bet on who would die, and let's just say I did not get. I got 2 right.
Yeah, see, I'll admit that it is kind of hard to guess who's going to die or not because, okay, god damn it, you got to help me with names, guys. Catelyn and Rob, they go to the aid of one of the Baratheon brothers.
They try to team up with Renly to some degree to make a truce.
Renly, okay, yeah. Right before he got stabbed, I was like, I see him living for a while. He gets killed by the thing. I'm like, oh Jesus, that was way. Oh man, because I was like, oh, he's starting to grow on me. Let's get. Oh, okay, shit, he's dead.
that is Game of Thrones at a T right there.
And that was
I like it. Oh shit.
And that was kind of a refreshing thing because I was like, okay, shit. Now what are they gonna do? All those warriors are going over to the other guys. Brienne, like I said, I'm kind of confused on if are they after her, or they just kind of forget about her at the moment.
Well, you got the war going on, so it's there's definitely a ransom on her head, probably from the Renly Baratheon loyalists. But with Stannis essentially getting a good chunk of them afterwards.
Yeah, they don't really care. It's who cares about her? It's
yeah,
if they think that anyway. But yeah, so and then the who's the chick that has that was married to him or was be wed to him?
Marjorie.
The one that you cast as proper Jeremy or something.
Marjorie
you remembered. Yeah, she's hot.
She's a fucking smoke show. I'm just gonna say.
And no, the whole Renly thing, it doesn't have like a huge effect for the whole show, but it definitely has a huge effect for alliances. Come the end of this season, you'll see it play out. So look forward to that.
Right, you are in the heart of the War of the Five Kings, which is
pretty much.
Which the show with the books. I mean, pretty much seasons 1 through 4. I mean, they are the books. Season 1 through 5 are the books, because in the books, a major character is still dead. We'll say that.
Yeah.
So it's been since 2011. This character has been dead, and we don't know what's going to happen. And but no, the books. I mean, the show there's still a lot that they leave out, like Lady Stoneheart and stuff. Which, after you have seen other things coming up, we can talk about that character.
I'm actually okay with the way they've done the characters, because there's so many freaking characters that, like, if they were to add more and more and more, oh my god.
The one that Lady Stoneheart's the one that I really wish that they would have had in the show, but that will be for future discussions, as you have not came to.
Yeah, I was really excited to see where that would go. Reading the books, I'm like, oh, there's this like cliffhanger, like, oh, what's going on? And there's like a vagueness with another character, at least in my opinion, and it's Rookie. The further you get into this, well, I told him before we started that, like, me and Moist and company, when we were doing these streams, we ran into the problem on rewatch of like, oh man, like, we're talking about season 2, but like this affects all the way to like season 7, but we can't talk about that right now. It's so intertwined. They're so cognizant of the history and how it affects.
I see what you mean, because so far I think I've mostly talked about what happens halfway into season 2 so far.
Yeah. Well, and what I can say, just with finishing Fire and Blood recently, there's a character in it, Lord Cregan Stark, who was like a 23-year-old, basically kind of Robb Stark, but this is like 150 years before Game of Thrones. And he basically, during the Dance of right after the Dance of Dragons, came down to King's Landing, and is like, "Hey, name me the hand of the king," to this 10-year-old Targaryen king, and the 10-year-old's like, "Okay, yeah, you're the hand." And he basically just executed everybody who was treasonous, and against basically the Seven Kingdoms' interests. And then as soon as he was done with that, he got the hell out of Dodge. He was like, he even said, "A Stark does not fare well in the South," and he goes back to Winterfell. And I'm just like, with season 1, Catelyn says, "You know how Starks don't do well in the South and King's Landing." I'm just like, okay, this is a prequel, but this is hilarious that, obviously George R.R. Martin's going to stay true with everything, but I appreciate the fact that they're just consistent with that. Starks do not fare well in the South and beyond Winterfell. And you have 150 years before the Game of Thrones, you have a Winterfell lord going south, getting shit done, and being like, "I'm getting the hell out of here, because if I stick around, I will lose my head." Ned Stark did the honorable thing, just like Cregan Stark, lost his head.
Okay. Nice. I had a question real quick, too. I'll probably be asking you guys questions on things because of people's names. Who's the guy at the Night's Watch who trains everybody, the commander? The old guy?
Oh, Lord Mormont.
Lord who?
You talking about Mormont, or the guy that like hates Jon Snow?
The main leader who gave him the sword.
It's Commander Mormont.
Yeah, the guy that hates Jon Snow, that's Alistair Thorne.
Okay, I haven't seen too much of him in season 2. I don't know if he's with their group or not. I don't know. But as far as the commander, though, I like him. He's probably gonna get killed soon, isn't he?
Jor?
Yeah, man, you guys are quiet. That's probably a yes.
I gotta keep watching.
Yeah, because I'm like, God, okay, he keeps on teaching Jon all these leadership things, and then he's gonna die soon because he's
you know Jorah Mormont, right?
Yeah, the guy with the beard. That
Jor is Jorah's father.
Who's Jorah again?
Jorah is Dany's Westbrook
her guard.
Oh, that guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that is Jor, the leader of the Night's Watch, is Jorah's father. They're both House Mormont.
Oh. Huh.
But Jorah was exiled because he was caught selling slaves. which was illegal in Westeros. So he was basically a trafficker, and then he was exiled, but still had ties back to Westeros, and so then they used him. So Robert Baratheon and Varys used him to spy on Dany, basically. And then he's just like, screw this. I think she's good.
Ah, come on, you spoil that. Like that's a good plot twist. Like season 3 or 4.
Oh shit!
Well, I'll probably forget who you're talking about. I'll probably forget who you're talking about.
Because I didn't really pick up on that the first time I watched it. Then I rewatched. I'm like, oh shit, that's how he was knowing all that. Oh, okay.
I see. I read the books before, so I was just like, oh.
Well, I will say I liked how what's his face Targaryen or what that's in the Night's Watch also the old blind guy.
Oh, Aemon Targaryen.
Yeah, Aemon.
Yeah. Jon Snow was like, you wouldn't know. How would you know? He's like, bitch, I've been through way the fuck more than you.
He would have been king of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. He's like, I don't want to.
Like, I'm excited for you to learn more about Aemon because he does give more of his own backstory.
Gets more? I thought he was done with. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know, my casting the Phantom Menace Game of Thrones, Nerdrotic is cast as Aemon Targaryen, and I think you might appreciate why. He watched it and he's like, great casting, Black Angus, so check it out.
Yeah, well,
Down God.
So
like fits my moisture perfectly.
Yeah, very moist, slightly wet. Yes.
Yeah, Rookie, for everyone if you haven't seen it, Rookie was cast in the first episode in the EVS tier as the faceless man, the Jaqen Hagar.
Oh boy, yeah.
I'm not quite there yet, so I haven't seen him yet. I'm getting there though.
You will in season 2.
He's in season 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, is he the blonde dude that helps Arya out in the?
Yes, that's
castle?
Yep.
Yeah.
The guy who was sentenced to the Night's Watch, kind of, and then he's actually a Red Guard, and then he.
Yeah, he's like a girl has questions. That guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I literally just saw that was the last scene actually before I came on here.
Yeah, that's Jaqen Hagar.
A girl says 3 names.
Talking in riddles. Yeah. Okay.
You'll get so many after you like learn more about his character and like the where he's from. You're gonna get so many Game of Thrones memes.
I bet. I was so confused on who he was when he was talking to her for a sec, and then I was like, "Oh wait, okay, he freed her or he freed him." Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, "Who the fuck is this character?" That was a random guard. It's like, God, is this the character that was in the past too?
Yeah,
he was barely in the past, but that's okay. But yeah, I like the stuff with Arya too. How she was, she snuck away when the Lannisters were trying to gather everybody and get the Stark girls, and kills that fat little kid in season 1. He's like, "You're coming with me, you little bitch," or something. And she's like, and just sticks him. He's dead. She's like, okay.
Remember whenever the in season 2 when their little wagon north gets basically jumped from the Lannister guards, and that one kid was wounded.
Yeah,
and the one Lannister soldier takes the sword and sticks the kid in the neck. Remember that scene. I will tell you that. Remember that scene.
Okay.
That was very specific, but it will be a big payoff in the future.
What? Okay.
And what I would say, yeah, if you don't know I think you know what I'm saying. Like basically, whenever the Lannisters take over that caravan north and take them to Harrenhal, before that, rewatch that scene and just kind of take in the details. And it's one of the finer things in Game of Thrones that I think I like the most. It's one of my favorite. It's a very underrated scene in my book. It was probably top 5 moments for me, was just hearing how that paid off in the future. And, it really didn't have a big story implication, but just how they tied off those fine, minute details early on was awesome. And then, later on we get plot holes and things that have never been tied off.
So later on, they kind of lose their sense of continuity and set up some payoffs in the right way, like that.
Exactly. You'll see how as it progresses, especially in season 7 and 8, See, I enjoyed season 7 for the most part. I felt like it was rushed as well. But you'll see there is a difference with the last 13 episodes between season 7 and 8, how the speed just freaking flies. But seasons 1 through 5, even 6, you could say, takes its good old time working towards this, penultimate ending and, this climax that we're going to see, essentially flop in season 8. But seasons 1 through 6, I would say, just kind of take their time.
Yeah. Well, what's weird for me is, besides like the teleporting essentially in season 7, I never had a problem with season 7. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely got me excited for season 8. And then season 8, the first 2 episodes, slow it down. Let's calm down. Take their good time. It feels like Game of Thrones, like normal. And then you get the last 4 episodes, because like you get episode 3, and you're like, fuck, like we're here at this key moment, and there's only a couple episodes left, and then it's like, wait, there's only 2 episodes left. There's only 1 episode left. Like, what the fuck are they doing? And then it's like those last 4 episodes, they just like go off the deep end. So I definitely want to see Rookie's take, because I'm one of the few people, like, I like the first 2 episodes. I was totally on board. I was defending the first 2 episodes. Like, hey, it's like, this is Game of Thrones. Take their time.
Yeah, same here.
They're shifting people's alliances last second that you wouldn't expect, because we kind of got complacent with like everyone's set on the chessboard. And like, oh fuck, like, throw in a wrench in the matter, and and it's just like
same here. I defended episodes 1 and 2 and the long night for like an hour afterwards, and then I like listened, because then I was just kind of like Last Jedi. I'm like, wait, Game of Thrones can't be bad. Like how when I first saw The Last Jedi, I'm like, Star Wars can't be bad. That wasn't bad. And then I went and rewatched it, and I'm like, this was bad. But then I'm still telling myself, no, Star Wars cannot be bad. So I went and watched it a 3rd time, 3 days in a row, and I'm like, that was bad. And then that's how I found you guys.
Yeah, it was funny because I'm one of the few people that, I've been very critical of Game of Thrones. You can see my content for this last season. But even so, it's not really the story. It's just how they got there doing it. I can totally take away the story. I can see, like, Jon Snow, the actor, said, like, disappointing. I don't think people in Fan Minutes extrapolate as like, oh, even Jon Snow hates the ending of Game of Thrones. Like, no, I think it's just disappointing because it's like, even though he's in the show, he's still accustomed to like tropes and storytelling, and then
that was his life.
It kind of has this defunct ending for his character, but it fits the style of George Martin. So like the story doesn't bother me at all.
Exactly.
It's like,
commenting on that, just saying. So like so far, like they've subverted expectations quite a few times, or they've killed people off that you'd think we're going to go on, but it's like it's happening in a way that I like, oddly, and it sounds like later on they do it in a way that is just like okay. Is what it sounds like.
In the last 2 seasons, yes, okay, but up until through season 6, there will be deaths. There will be moments where you're like, how the hell does the story continue like this, or where do we go from here? And then next episode, you're just like, all right, I'm strapped up. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, my wife, she's one that needs me to like hold her hand watching these type of shows. Because she just doesn't have the fortitude to just like set some time aside and watch on her own to catch up to me or something. So I just blaze past her. And last year or the year before, I was watching season 7 on HBO on my phone, and there's a moment where I'm like, no, don't kill it. And I said, like, the character, she's like, don't spoil it, I haven't got there. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's like I'm in the moment. It's like, oh my god, pucker effect. It's good stuff. They're always pulling stuff where you're like, oh fuck, or
they made
things are going fine, and oh wow, they did that. It's just it's a great roller coaster ride.
Even with like Joffrey and Sansa, like I like, honestly, I don't really care about Sansa, but she is one of the ones, but she's one of the ones that I kind of want to know what's going to happen with her the most, as far as how does she get out of this. Like, I know that later she is Queen of the North or something, or I don't really know.
Like, how she get there?
I know that she gets out of there though, but I don't know how this ends with Joffrey and with her and all this. I don't know how he gets killed. I don't know what happens with her to get out. It seems like I'm kind of noticing that the Hound is kind of trying to protect her ish in a way. He's like, trying to make her not do stupid things. They'll get her more hurt, I suppose. And so I don't know if he's a good guy, kind of, or as far as like, he tolerates all the stupid people he serves, but tries to do the least damage or do the quickest mercy or something. Like, he seems to be the guy who's trying to keep balance, kind of.
Yeah, it's funny talking about Sansa because first 4 seasons, I fucking hated her. Me being a Stark fanboy from the first moment I started watching this, I was just like, I don't care if she's a Stark, just fucking kill her already. Like, I just can't stand her. And then they actually made her a good character. A lot of people, once you get season 5, you'll see, I think midway through the controversial moment, people started really like going against Game of Thrones. They're like, this isn't Game of Thrones. How can you do this character? Blah, blah. And it's like George R. R. Martin himself was fine with this development.
And it's like, well, actually in the book, it's not our character, not Sansa, but like another character that's filled in for her. Worse things happen in the book.
Yeah, and it's like it's like the people's outrage or something. It's like you realize they kind of condensed that into her story and made you invested, because otherwise it'd be some no name who gets thrown away later on, So it's like they did perfect in my opinion with that, and it's just like if you have a problem with that, you have a problem with George R. R. Martin because he was fine with it. It's his work that's being adapted, and he's fine with it, and it's like. It's done in a better way, in my opinion. Like sometimes in a book, it's like, all right, this stuff's happening, but like you're telling it in a story on film, it's like, well, why would anyone care about this person? Like, yeah, it's deranged or whatever, but whatever. And so, a lot of feminists cry about that too, which is funny because it really is a key moment for her to start developing, because otherwise she's just that stupid little bird.
It's the moment that she begins to play the Game of Thrones.
Well, exactly. I do like so far how like I'm noticing that she was very defiant kind of, but she wants to love him. But I mean, I'm trying to imagine being in that type of situation where it's like, okay, they just killed your dad and they're the ruling people right now, and how the hell are you gonna stay alive?
Yeah, she's like in survival mode.
Like, so she has to do. Let's do that. I love Joffrey's my love. I love him, and then like I love that Tyrion's like she might survive this after all. Like I like how he kind of cares too. Like he does genuinely care about a lot of people and really doesn't want anyone to die on either side. He's like, I don't want all these deaths. And even though he just got captured by Catelyn Stark for a long while, and he tried to help Bran and all this other stuff, and he's still, he's like, okay, you guys lost the girl. What the fuck? You lost the little one? God damn you. And then, and with Sansa getting beaten up by the guard, he's just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I liked how Joffrey's like, you can't talk to me that way.
I love it when Tyrion slaps him. Like, that's like one of the best.
Yeah, honestly, though, I hate
Joffrey.
That's
in Winterfell still in season 1.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about when he defies him as the king. He's just he's like, you can't talk to me that way. I was like, oh god, that's funny. Just watch.
Yeah, I love it when Joffrey, his mother's talking smack to him, and then she slaps him, and he's like, do that again, and you're done.
He's like, that's punishable by death, what you just did.
Yeah,
do
he puts her in her.
Don't do it again.
He puts her in her place, and that's like, she's not used to it. She thinks like, oh, I got to hold on my son, and it's like, oh crap, I'm losing all my power.
That's a great catch. One of the few times Cersei is really put in her place.
Since then, I've noticed her character. I've noticed a shift in her character since that happened. Like, she before was really like upfront about everything she says, and says it to whomever about whatever. And since then, she almost got submissive-ish. Like, she has to be kind of more quiet. She just voices her frustrations kind of, but not in the way that she would, like not in the demanding way. It's like she, like even to Tyrion, like she can't full on tell him what to do. It's like she has to kind of play along. Like she can't really do anything.
Oh, but her character's so freaking good. Well, Rookie, one thing that you had, just to kind of go back a little bit, whenever you were saying like how much you're looking forward to see what happens with all these characters or whatever. So for those of you listening and in the chat that are caught up and you've seen everything, no, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but a certain event happens in at the end of season 5. That happens, and I was living in Jordan, over in the Middle East at the time. So there was like five of us Americans that were there studying Arabic, and we like went over to our one Jordanian friend, his apartment. And he's like, "Hey, I'm pirating Game of Thrones. Let's watch it." And so we're like, absolutely. We knew this guy, like we knew him for like 10 minutes, essentially. I knew him for like 10 minutes. One of my friends was like, oh, hey, I know him. He's cool. I'm like, we're not going to get kidnapped or anything, but we're watching Game of Thrones. Let's go. So we get over there. So we're watching it, and then this event happens. We're all just sitting there. We're like, what the fuck just happened? And then the next day, so I went to Princess Umaya University of Technology, which is just basically in the heart of downtown Amman, right next to the University of Jordan. And so basically, I'm walking to my class. And I mean, I'm an American on a Jordanian campus. Obviously the language is being spoken is Arabic. So you are just, I'd walk by and there'd be these people just sitting kind of like a little away from the crowd. Well, I'd walk by them and you'd hear them speaking Arabic. And then all of a sudden you hear like Daenerys Targaryen or Jon Snow or Tywin Lannister or Tyrion Lannister or Cersei. Like you'd hear all these Game of Thrones names. And I'm just like, wait a second. I'd turn around and I'd be like, you guys talk about Game of Thrones? And they're like, absolutely. Did you watch the episodes? I'm like, yes, we need to talk about this. I would talk to people I had never met before in a different country, in a different language, and we would just be talking Game of Thrones. I'm like, and everyone's just like, oh, we got to know more. And so, Rookie, hearing your excitement just gets me all fired up again.
Yeah. The biggest thing I took away from this, Brandon, is that you have a token Jordanian friend.
I have many Jordanian friends, but yeah, I lived with a family that did not speak English, so
yeah, the way you said
I had to learn Arabic real quick.
The way you said is like our one Jordanian friend, and it's like token confirmed.
Yeah. That was the one that was we were kind of like, what do we do here? And he's just like, I got Game of Thrones. We're like, yes, we're here.
Yeah, it's funny, Ricky. I've told you this. I started watching Game of Thrones. I see the second base went to. I had the books, but at first I was watching season 2 because that was like the one set available in our library of films in the our shack, whatever we lived in, and all the infantry guys, these dumb fucks, are like, "Oh, you watching a LARP show, nerd," and stuff. And then they saw somehow they saw like tits or something, and then they're like, "Oh fuck!" Then everyone started getting on board, and they're like getting into the intrigue. And it's like it's so funny how that's when I realized that HBO is very good at hooking you with like carnal, very basic primal pleasure, and then giving you like real content. They kind of fool you. They fool your.
They play on your sensibility, or they play on your taste, and fiddle with it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Well, just going off of that, Rookie, I'm anxious to hear this. So, obviously Daenerys Khaleesi, she was basically, I feel like, spent half of this first season naked. Either basically just taking it from Khal Drogo or whatever. But I feel like the ending of season 1, when she emerges from the fire with the hatched dragon eggs, and she's there, she's the unburnt. It's just her hair, her dragons, nothing else. And then you just see immediately everybody just starts bowing down. What did you think of that? I felt like that was shot in a powerful way, where it's like one of those kind of like what you were just saying, Black Angus, like, oh, look at that tits. But you're just like, oh shit, like this is actually like that's pretty powerful. That how they shot it, like it just shows like she has power and like she's meaning.
Yeah, well, that kind of goes with what I was saying about how they didn't have magic in this season for the most part until like the last 2 episodes, and it's like I can tell based on how people talked about season 8, like holy shit, it seems like that's all the show is. It's like there's mystical this and some type of creature that. Or something, and so with this, it seemed like the first like reborn of that kind of thing, and she just has dragons on her shoulders now. And she was standing in fire. The whole thing was lit and everything. She's on the burnt body, like while it was burning, and she's okay. And everybody there, I don't know, were those were not the actual Dothraki soldiers. Those were just the slaves that they freed before.
Yeah, those are all like the lackeys and unwanteds. The fringe of the Callus.
Them and Jorah.
And I might have missed.
Jorah was really like, whoa.
I might have missed something, but were they part of a temple, or are they just in a village? the slaves.
They had just taken over basically a village, and
I wasn't sure if they like worshipped a bunch of stuff, or if they were like in a temple, or if they were just a village that has random stuff.
Well, Jorah, I mean, if you look at it, Jorah was telling her like, "Don't like, what are you doing? Like, you're gonna die." And then afterwards, Jorah was like the first one to kneel, and he's just like, "Wow, okay."
Well,
She is Targaryen.
I don't think he saw that she could survive fire. So
yeah, and
you already know she can. She already went to the hot bath in the beginning.
Exactly.
The egg, whatever, burned that one girl, and then she picked it up no problem. So I saw that type of theme forming. I figured, I was wondering. I was like, can she just like be on fire and it's okay? And then that answered my question.
Like that season ending, like it was because I saw like the first 2 scenes before I started reading the books, and then watching it again. That was like a huge shock. Like, oh fuck! You're thinking like, okay, it's this sad widow who's lost her husband and now her child. Now she's just gonna go out with him, and this like this symbol of her family. And then it's like, oh, like they fucking hatched. Just like shit, that's the first real sign. Oh, like there's magic aside from the witch. There's magic actually. Because you kind of forget about the White Walkers, or if they're really a thing or what they are.
Because they only show up that first scene, and then when it comes, when it attacks the commander.
Yeah, and what's interesting is even with that, even having dragons and the Night King and stuff later on, the show does really well of staying just a medieval fantasy and not really getting too much into the fantasy. It relies very much on good characters and good drama.
That's actually what I'm liking so far, because I feel like this could be like telling an old story from like even our own history, but they have their own mythical stories of the past, of course, that they tie along with it. And, and then there's a few things that are like, oh, that's interesting here and interesting there with it. Like even in halfway into season 2, I think I'm on episode 5, the Ghost of Harrenhal.
Yep.
I think that's where I'm
at. Hey, Brandon, I was going to ask you, do you know like what the child was? Because it seemed like the way she like hinted at like the way it looked, that it was like a dragon child. The way she talked about like scaly skin and shit, like it was some.
Actually, I can confirm that because I just saw it like yesterday or the day before. Yeah, she was like it had. What? Oh, God damn it! What the hell was her guardian's name? The guy, Jor-El.
Jorah.
Yeah, Jorah.
Yeah, Jorah was Jorah was like, yeah, the baby never had a chance. And then she's like, how did it die? It died. Like, he wasn't really saying how or what. And she's like, no, I took it out, and it had scales, wings. She basically said it was a dragon.
It was like a demon. And to them, it was like a demon.
Yeah, and described it in a weird way, but it didn't sound like a human. It was literally describing a dragon. So
see, I took the whole sequence as, once you get to the conclusion of it, as the actual life to pay for Drago was the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's really fucked up. And I love how she kind of gives Daenerys some real perspective of the world, and that's where she starts learning the Game of Thrones herself.
Now, Rookie, I have a question here, and Black Angus, you can attest to this as well. So one thing that Black Angus and I would do in our Game of Thrones recaps for each season, we would do a death timeline. I have the death timeline pulled up for season 1. So if we want to recap every death, let me know, and I can tell you. I'll tell you who was killed and how they died.
Okay, that's good. Interesting. I'll keep that in mind.
I was just saying, because I have it all up. It is. I'm rewatching. I'm like scrolling through here, and one person that we never talked about was Viserys so far. What do you think of Viserys?
Was he the sword teacher?
Viserys was Daenerys' brother.
Oh, right, the guy with the one of the crown. Yeah, I don't really understand how he was with this, because if he's a Targaryen like her, wouldn't he also be flame resistant?
I feel like he was a bastard, honestly.
Well, he's not.
He had that same hair and everything.
Yeah,
skin. So I kind of thought that okay, but I actually have a question. Couple questions with this. So who's okay? Or just let me know if there's something that happens with her later or not. You don't gotta tell me what. Tyrion's was a whore girl that's not a whore. That like he's
Shay?
like let's play a game, and he tries to guess her thing, and he's like, you had all these stereotypical things that happen with whores, and she's like, drink. No, and she's like, I'm not a slave chick. I'm not one of these bitches. And I'm like, what the fuck is she? Like, she's not rich, but she's not a whore with this. But she was at their camp at Tyrion's, at Tywin's place when they first see her. Like, what?
I'm doing some research here in the Viserys. So one, he was drunk whenever he was killed. So there's that. And I think a lot of it was just a sense of false security or something like that. I don't know. He just basically made himself a fool instead of a Targaryen at the end, and I think maybe that's why he was able to be killed by that. I mean, if you take a fucking molten gold to the head, it might kill you. But I think he basically, it almost seemed like he cast off his like Targaryen lineage at the end, being like, I am the king. I am the next born after Rhaegar, who was killed at the Trident. I am the king. And then Khal Drogo said, no, you're not. Not in Essos, you're not. And because he is on a different continent too, and that could have played a role as well. So
yeah.
Wait, I'm totally lost what you're asking, Rookie.
No, so who's the character? So the character that Tyrion is with, the girl, the person. Yeah.
Shay.
She's the only character that I don't know anything about. As far
she was
as like
a porn star before Game of Thrones.
She was a what?
The actress that played her was a porn star.
Well,
I can tell you that.
Well, I'm saying that her character is just so confusing because she's like, I'm not a whore, and I'm not a slave, and I'm not rich or anything. She's just kind of a character that was there in Tywin's camp, and that's where they found her. She was just there entertaining
Yep.
Ron, and she's like with Tyrion at King's Landing. And I'm just her character. I don't know if she's going to have something big later or not, but she's one that I have pegged as one that's supposed to be an underdog character. I don't know.
She's very important with Tyrion. Let's just say. With Tyrion's character development, she's a very important role. She's a very important role.
I don't know. She just seems like there's more to her than it's supposed to be, because everything, like every stereotype that they have with other female characters of that type of thing, she denies. Like she's not a whore. She's not.
I think in the chat here. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna probably butcher this name. I hope I don't, and I'm sorry if I do. But Blue-Eyed Scorpio says, yes, she did used to do porn. Yep, she did, and she's poorly written, but plays a big role in sorts. And I think that, I think she could have been written a little better going forward. And Rookie, you might see this, and then if you ever read the books, you might see it too. But you'll see that she does play a big role with Tyrion and, with House Lannister's development. And, it's like one of them side characters you kind of get attached to, or not even attached to, but you're trying to empathize. You're trying to see. She's like, I'm like what you're saying. I'm not a whore. I'm not all this. She's trying to be something bigger than what, really she's being treated as. But kind of just gets stuck in that freaking role within the Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know. She's just the one that I would say, like, if you're gonna say who's an oddball out of the Game of Thrones characters, if you can pick one.
As you progress, she will. Yeah,
that's what I'd pick as one that I can't predict anything that she's gonna do.
I'm very excited to see in the future. I'm very excited to see how your opinions of her change and develop.
Okay, because I don't really like her, but I'm the most curious about her.
Yeah, I never liked how I was. I was just like, yeah, she's there. But
yeah, which I guess that's the point. And it's like, okay, there's a few things I'm trying to bring up, so I'm skipping around.
Honestly, right. I think you'll get annoyed by her, Ricky.
Well, I already am annoyed. I'm just trying to get why she's there, because Tyrion's just keeping her around. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
No real reason. She seems very non-normal with this. So, and very easily to screw with you. So I don't know, but I was going to say, I want to talk about this with you guys. So I've been hearing, with the Night King, the zombie king or whatever, that he literally just, he's built up from the beginning as far as the White Walkers go, the zombies. They're in the background, like throughout this whole 2 seasons, basically, or 1.5 seasons. They've only been mentioned every now and then, but they haven't been in anything all that much, which I think is fine while the stuff's going on. But, people were saying that, they're not the main threat, so why care? It's been always about who's going to be on the throne or something. And I'm like, yeah, but it seems like it just seems already like it's building to be that's the important thing. Like already, like it just halfway through season 2, it seems like, yeah, like you're dealing with all these issues now, but then later, the White Walkers and whatever other creatures are out there maybe would be the main threats you guys should focus on. So
that's,
I don't know.
yeah. And in the books, I'll tell you, there is no Night King.
No, there isn't.
Books, it's the White Walkers, the Whites. So the White Walkers are the guys that can like turn people into the Whites or whatever. The Whites are basically your zombies. The White Walkers are, they're the guys with the long hair. Like they actually have control. They're on horseback usually.
Do they have consciousness? Kind of like.
That's the thing. We don't know. It was never explained.
Because I do.
That's one thing that
stop asking questions, incel.
This damn prequel series is probably going to answer that they never freaking answered in the actual series.
At first, I thought the idea of the Night King being like a zombie king was kind of stupid, but like thinking about it a little bit, I'm like, that's actually kind of an interesting dynamic because it's technically a zombie, but he seems to have a history.
In the end, I was Team Night King. Let's just say I was rooting for Night King. I'm just like, just burn it down, like destroy it all. Like I had a little Mad King Ares II moment where I'm just like, let's just kill it all. Like, let's just freaking. And the thing is, what got me? It was a freaking meme somebody made, and it was the Iron Throne. It was the Night King just sitting on it. And then they had like every character that was still alive in season 8, like below him. And they all had the blue eyes, like the whites. I'm just like, that's freaking badass. Let's go Team Night King. And my expectations were subverted.
Dude, they like, let me see. I think it was the week they released in-game, and I saw it on like the premiere showing for like the Thursday where it was the end of like the 23 film like marathon at theaters.
Yeah.
And so I got like the 5 o'clock show and got the coin from it and stuff. And I don't know if it's Game of Thrones or Marvel, but there was a thing made where it was like the Night King and Thanos standing across from each other. Said something about like the Starks, because you got Tony Stark and you got the House Stark, and it's like leading up to the long night, and then afterwards it's like there is no fucking comparison for Thanos to the Night King.
I feel like there should have been, and I feel like in the books there could be a comparison, but in the show definitely not. No, and one thing, Rookie, too, definitely keep an eye, and I'm glad that you have recognized that early on, and I think that's a big thing with the fandom in a whole. You're so caught up in the War of the Five Kings, and then you're just like, when it goes to Jon Snow up in the north at the wall, you're just like, oh shit, well these guys are coming too. So, and I'm glad that you realize, like, okay, cool, we can all bicker about who's gonna get the Iron Throne, but in the future, what are we going to do about these freaking things? They don't care who's on the Iron Throne. They just want to kill you.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I don't know what else happens in the series, but I feel like this doesn't happen. But I kind of thought it'd be cool if they have like other really threatening creatures beyond the wall as well. Like that could be considered a threat. Like they said, giants before. They said White Walkers, zombies, sure. But I feel like that would be the tip of the iceberg of the type of creatures. Like, because they said that they don't exist anymore, and but then dragons as well come back and other things. Like, so I would think that there could be some other threats in a way beyond the wall because they just shoved them out and spent that over 1,000 years. A lot of things can happen in 1,000 years. So
well, Rookie, I'll tell you, this is a non-spoiler, spoiler/non-spoiler. Because it's not in the show, it's alluded to, but it's not in there. One mythical creature that you could say they would be ice spiders. The ice spiders unfortunately did not make it into the show, but they did ice spiders. So like whites, but they're massive spiders. So like if you ever played Skyrim,
No.
like those kind of badass spiders, and I said that because I'm playing virtual reality Skyrim. I'm playing through it, and I am freaking terrified of these damn spiders. Even though it's VR and they're not real, I am terrified of them. But ice spiders is one thing that did not make it in. But I say Smooth Jam California rookie has a question, and what do you think of Jamie and Theon?
Okay, these are two other scruples, kind of. So with Theon, anyway. Jamie, I already kind of from watching season 8 stuff. I'm kind of confused on how he gets there, but he seems to join. I'm just gonna say the Starks side. I'll just say that, as a general term, I suppose. It kind of goes away from the Lannisters and then kind of comes back or something with her love for Cersei. I've watched people's videos on season 8. So that's kind of what I get. But yeah, he seems like a Prince Charming character from Shrek. With that's as far as like his looks go. But now he seems interesting because he's a Kingslayer. Like that's such a big title, but it's like treated like nothing. He's like, yeah, I killed the king, the Mad King. Who cares? It's he had a celebration and that's it. And then he's just what is he? So I'm curious, like what he even wants, what he wants to do. What's going to happen with him? Because right now, where I'm at, he's still captured by Robb Stark and all them. So I don't know. He's a tough one to kind of peg. Then Theon, I don't really know what he's going to do because he seems like he's very annoyed with the Starks. How they treat him sometimes. But then Robb through this war, he and Robb have been kind of closer. So I feel okay, they got brethren, but then his dad and family or whatever are like, oh, you're a little pussy. It's like I'm not a pussy. And he's trying to join them, kind of, or maybe he's using them to then still join with Robb. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? That might take.
It's hard to say without spoilers, but I'll just resort to the chat here that without any context. I'm sorry again if I destroy your name. Blue-eyed Scorpio.
Blue-eyed Scorpio. Yep.
Blue-eyed Scorpio. Okay. All right. Blue-eyed Scorpio. Jamie's arc is amazing, and Smooth Jam California. I'm not going to specify the season, but in case if you're looking at the chat, you've already seen it. But if you're not, a season X Jamie is GOAT. So Jamie, you have a lot to look forward to, and your thoughts on Jamie are pretty much what I had at that point watching Jamie. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this guy? Like, how is he gonna like? Is he a dick or is he like a good guy? Like, I don't know.
To me, he seems like he has that honor aspect. With Ned Stark, like he was trying to fight him one-on-one, and then his soldier interfered, and he's like, "Dude, fuck! What the fuck was that? Now I can't fight him properly. Now I can't do a one-on-one death match because you fucked it. You interfered." What the
and then you have his Lannister side being the cunning warrior and con man. He's like that's present, and that's why I was like, we can't trust him. We can't do that.
Yeah, like with Robb Stark, he's like, we could end this war right now, boy. You and I, one-on-one. You pick the terms. Nails, teeth, a tooth, whatever you want to fight. Let's do it. He's like, dude, you'd fucking win. It's like, yeah, smart boy. And he's like, oh, why don't you keep me in a castle or something? And then usually ship me away. He's like, because then everybody's gonna try to take you from them. Smart boy. That's kind of funny. He's like, oh, he's like, are you getting attracted to me, boy, or something? He's like, I haven't seen you with a girl.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Jamie, I'm trying to think. Like, into season 2 into 3, he starts really developing for me. But yeah, like when you first meet him, it's like, oh, this fucking guy. He's not even with like how would I say it? He's a Lannister, so like they really paint the Lannisters besides Tyrion kind of in the obvious light of like you're rooting against them. And the further you go,
when he pushes Bran out of what's his face out of the window
in the first episode of the show.
Right from the get go, they make you kind of side with the Starks from the start. But yeah, he definitely progressed over time. He becomes one of like the fan favorites and one of like the lead stars of the show. And you get a lot of interesting stuff. And I think I'm not sure if I addressed his character specifically in a few videos I did about Game of Thrones, but yeah, I don't know. Like when you look back on the whole show, you're like, oh, like stuff you learn kind of reflects back on his whole development and stuff. And I don't know, him and Cersei, I've like totally 180'd my view of them just going through the show initially, and then also rewatching it and then thinking on it from a different light, being a parent and stuff. So yeah, I'm Team Lannister to a degree, but yeah, Starks are like my main thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, Rookie looks like Lethal Lightning's Team Lannister and blames the whole war on Ned Stark. And yeah, I mean, you can blame it on him, I think, because
I'd say he could have handled some things better.
Yeah, he was just trying to be too honorable.
I kind of Varys or Varys?
Yeah, Varys. Yeah,
bald guy. I was trying to talk to him when he was in the chamber and stuff. I feel like he only started to kind of think in the way Varys did at the end, but that was like too late because Joffrey's the king and wants to kill him real quick. But yeah, I mean, some of his decisions I can kind of agree with that, but no, because the Lannisters, did some fucked up shit the whole time too. Kind of like, well, one attempting to kill Bran. That's your family against theirs. That's not exactly a non-war starter.
The things I do for love.
There's actually one thing that's still been kind of unresolved up to this point, as far as they haven't like fully given that full clarity, but they brush it aside so much. So with the knife thing and with the obviously Cersei or Jaime hired the person to kill Bran again. Was it like Cersei directly who hired the people to kill?
You'll find out,
because that
I don't want to say anything.
Okay, no, okay, that's good because for now it seems like that was
the cat's paw, the dagger. Yeah, I know.
It seemed like it was completely shoved under the rug, and I'm like,
it will play a prominent role in the future.
Because I'm like this, they spent a lot of time in season 1 trying to solve the murder mystery or the attempted murder of Bran, of the killer, and then the knife and everything. And then I'm like, okay, so we pretty much conclude that it's obviously Jaime and Cersei, but now it seems like there was more to it than that. And I was like, God, I'm kind of curious now because they've spent a lot of time on it, and then they just kind of brush it under the rug. I'm like, God, that seems incomplete. Seems incomplete. What the hell's gonna happen? I don't know.
Exactly what you said. That's something you can look forward to. And I would say Blue-Eyed Scorpio has another question here for you. So it's difficult without spoilers, but like I mentioned earlier, it's a slow burn. Some points might be annoying, but character development will show as it gets rolling. And I think what you've been saying already, Rookie, has been a testament to that statement.
But yeah, I would agree because at first, there's an impression on certain people at first, and then later it's like, okay, you're a little different. Like with Emily, was that the Baratheon brother or
Renly? Yeah,
Renly.
Yeah,
like I hated him.
Yeah, Baratheons were Robert, and then his brothers. Oldest one is Stannis, and younger brother is Renly.
Okay, yeah, like with Renly, I hated him at first. And I didn't even know he was his brother. I kind of forgot. I must have missed that or something. But then I was like,
before he was the master of wasn't the master of coin. He was the master of something on the small council.
Yeah, which I don't even know what it was. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Like, you only see it like twice, but in the books, it's damn it. I can't. It's gonna bug.
But then he seemed like a decent little leader of his little army. I was like, he seems all right.
He actually had the bigger army over Stannis.
Well, but from what they show, it seems small. Like, it seemed like just that little tent area. So I'm just saying little army for that. But so I was like, okay. And then he's kind of rubbing off on me a little bit. Okay. And then they kill him.
Yeah.
I was okay. That was weird. All right. Okay. Good. What else was I gonna say? No, I do like how so far, like I didn't know I was gonna have this much to talk about with Game of Thrones because I haven't really talked about it yet since watching it or thinking about it. But now I'm really eager to see more. Like I'm like, God, I gotta go to work tomorrow morning. First thing when I come back is gonna continue watching Game of Thrones. I'm getting that eager stuff.
Yeah, and that's that's what it does to you. Like I'm not gonna talk about it, but then like, son of a gun. I can tell you during the run of season 8. Despite all of the problems we had with it, and if you follow the Fandom Menace, Nerdrotic and Doomcock, I think covered it freaking perfectly. Bear, nerd fun. Hail to all. Yes, hail to all. And
by the way, for people in the chat, real quick. So I'm not really reading the chat right now because I'm trying to avoid certain spoilers. Like, you can put them in there if you want. Like, I don't really care. But Brandon, Moist, and Angus are going to pick out stuff from you guys in the chat to mention to me so that I don't, get something that just is about to happen around the corner get spoiled or something. So.
Yeah, and if you drop spoilers in the chat, that's okay with us. I mean, Black Angus and I, we've read the books. We're all caught up with the series, but then we'll just kind of like censor your. We can still give your questions to Rookie, but we'll kind of like censor it so there's no spoilers for him.
Yeah, and I think everybody on the planet has seen all of the seasons except for like me and 10 other people.
Yeah. So. But listening to your excitement, like how you're excited with you're halfway through season 2 already. This is awesome. Like, you're excited about it. You're looking forward to all these character arcs to come, or like seeing where they're going to lead to. And that, for me, like I'm going to rewatch the show eventually here, and just it's refreshing to like after going out of season 8, kind of had a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Hearing this just rejuvenates me. And, I just finished Fire and Blood, like I've said before. Awesome book. I loved it. I'm excited for part 2. I want Winds of Winter first. George, if you're listening, please. Thank you. He did give himself a deadline of July 2020 because with New Zealand Airlines, New Zealand Air actually offered to bring him to New Zealand for free so he could finish the book series. And he's just like, thank you, but no thanks. If I don't have a copy of Winds of Winter at this New Zealand Comic-Con, basically, by July 2020, you have permission to arrest me and keep me on your island until I finish the book.
So just send him to Hawaii and don't make him leave or something, but make it bad. Too much sun. No.
Yeah.
Book. But no, I'm liking the story, because at first I thought this was kind of boring. I was like, God, really? Why the fuck am I watching this? Was my first thoughts. And I'm like,
Rookie had my problem with No Country for Old Men. I saw it in the wrong mindset. I saw No Country for Old Men when I was like 15. I'm like, this is a fucking boring movie. Then I got the download 10 years later, and I watched it literally 10 times in a week. I just couldn't get enough of it. All the little nuances. Now Rookie's finally getting it. I'm just like, dude, you see, think how many subs you could have gotten if you were doing content, your takes on the series.
You're probably right. I mean, I would do it in a different way. I probably would have even tried to use stop motion to do something kind of funny with some of these takes. I would have used that creativity. But no, Angus. The fun fact for everybody in the chat: Angus has been on me ever since we pretty much met on YouTube to watch Game of Thrones. He's trying to film me out. Oh, you watch Game of Thrones? No. Watch it, you'll love it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, I'll get it. And then he even gave me his password on Voodoo, and I'm like, maybe I'll get around to it. And now I am finally watching it. And it's but it only took seriously. I wasn't going to start watching it until this August. I was gonna wait until August when I'm gonna be house sitting somewhere and nothing to do. I was gonna do that, but I'm like, no. After season 8, and everybody has recommended this for so long, and then everybody's like, it's a dumpster fire. What the fuck do they do? It's horrible. I'm like, this is interesting now. This really has.
You want to see why? Why did we think it was a dumpster fire?
Yeah, well, why was it so built up as the greatest thing humankind has created, and then why is it this is the worst thing everybody's created or ended? Oh no, I'm like, how can it be that bad? How can it shift that horribly over seasons? Because the show so far just seems. I do like how long it's taking, actually, because if it was a movie, they would have already had the battles by now. That would have been the main thing, is the long drawn out battles that nobody cares about, with a bunch of things going on and people that we can't see. And so far, every battle has been pretty close, as far as in a town or in a small area or 1-on-1, 2-on-3. There hasn't been too many. I think the most 1-on-1 fight was the sword teacher guy, and then the guy who's
R.I.P. Serial. No, well, Rookie, what you said of the battles coming forward, you will see long drawn out battles, but they have meaning. And what happens in the battles, there is story elements progressing as people are fighting, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like they just did that, like okay, and then you just like step back, you're like, wait a second.
Well, okay, I should clarify.
It's not just like a slasher flick, kind of.
Yeah, I should clarify that there's no cliche battles. There's no
exactly.
two big armies clash, and then we get back in a few cut to some characters we know, and then they are just slicing people up, and that would be kind of boring. And I don't know if I mentioned it to you, Moist, but I was kind of glad that they skipped that one battle in the season 1 with
with
I don't even know what that battle's called because I don't know, but because they kind of
this one where Tyrion gets knocked out.
Yeah, he gets knocked out before the fight.
That's a perfect way to shoot that.
I never seen something like that where it's like they hype up the battle, like there's going to be a big fucking battle, like half man, they're charging one of their things, clubs or something, accidentally hits them on the head, and then they wake up to him being carried off, and then he's like, did we win? He's like, yeah, wouldn't be talking to you if we did, and then you just see the wild people or whatever just like hacking everyone up that's already dead on the ground, and just holy shit. And then to hear them go, they're like, oh, we won, yay, but so do we get Rob? He's like, no, because that wasn't 20,000, that was 2,000. It's 18 just went over there, and fucking we're fucked right now, and they got Jamie. Like, oh yeah, wow, that was cool, because I didn't really care about the battle, honestly. I'm like, because why would I care? Like, I already saw Braun fight that night 1-on-1, and I like that fight.
That was all.
That was pretty good. He just walks in just with his sword, and the other guy's all armored up, and nope, can't touch him really. Can't even touch him.
They're like, you did not fight honorably, and he's just like, well, he did.
Well, I think the only unhonorable thing was when he like shoved somebody at him. Yeah. That's like the only time. Other than that, I'm like, seems fair. They didn't establish like a ring. They didn't establish anything else. They didn't let him put any armor on. That seems pretty fair to me.
Yeah, and Rookie, let's just hit the chat here quick. Sunspot Gallery, UK greetings. Hey, good morning to you guys over there in the UK from your Yankee brethren over here in the United States. Bear Nerd Fun does not watch Game of Thrones, but just enjoys the Phantom Menace talking about it.
Yep, thanks, buddy. I understand that. Me too.
Goldfinger, Yo-Yo, how's it going? Yo-Yo, back to you.
Yo, house, bro.
And Smooth Jam California says they started watching around season 3. That's pretty much when I started watching as well, and fell in love with it. Watched it religiously until season 6, and I haven't bothered to watch the last 2 seasons. I'd still watch the last 2 seasons, but definitely just to see how they turn out. But if you're waiting for the books, do so. But yeah, and for those in the chat, Black Angus and I are checking the chat, and we'll be responding to you because we don't want Rookie to get spoiled. He's up to season 2, basically 2.5, or he's up like the second half.
I'm in 1.5. I'm on episode 5 of season 2.
Yeah, so episode 5 of season 2. So Black Angus and I are kind of just checking out the chat, and we will censor. We will get your questions to Rookie, but we'll censor them for spoilers, so Rookie does not get spoiled, so you get his raw takes.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that format. I was going to say real quick, so many people, when I posted on Twitter, like that I just got through season 1, so many people are like, stop at season 4 or stop at season 5. Don't watch season 8. Pretend that those don't exist. Like all these, I'm getting told so many different things. So, like, run away now. Like, don't even bother with the whole thing. Don't waste your time. And I'm just hearing all these things, and I'm like, gosh, like this show really affected people. God.
Well, I mean, like, what, 18 million people watch season 8?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard those numbers for anything?
I've not heard that for a TV show. Like, that's crazy. But no, just hearing that many opinions of people that are like, don't watch the whole show. So it kind of confused me. I'm like, don't watch the whole show. I mean, I guess some people determine that on their own, but I mean, I am intrigued, honestly, so far. Usually if a show turns me off right away, then I usually don't watch the rest. But, you guys told me to pull through a little, and then I'll get into it. I was assuming that it wasn't going to pick up at all until after season 3. But now it's kind of like by episode 5 of season 1, I was my eyes were kind of going, like, my brow was raised a little. I was like, oh, now you kind of got me. I'm like, okay, now you're kind of getting me.
Well, now okay, just more. The fact of Emilia Clarke naked, dragons. If anything, I'm just sitting here like, are you gay? Like,
Well, I mean, in these times with, you could just see that on a picture anyway. So, I mean, but no, with that, I was glad I saw it in film form with that.
Well,
that made it more interesting seeing it play out that way. She honestly, even if she were to have died, like she seemed to have nothing left. She was like, without dragons or without something, like, I don't know what the fuck to do. She was relying on Drogo, it seemed. And I was a little disappointed that he wasn't in more, but I'm actually kind of glad because I've seen Jason Momoa so much in Stargate Atlantis. Like, I always see him as Ronin in that. And I love that character, but in something else like this, I don't know. He would have been really annoying because he doesn't really speak that much. He's like, go over there. I'm like, okay, shut up.
well, Rookie, I'd like to welcome a special guest here, the Real YT, a new subscriber for you, new to your channel from Nerdrotic, and they say they've seen the whole show, did not read the books, but they were disappointed in season 8. So, shout out to you, the Real YT. Thanks for subscribing to Rookie here,
and don't forget to sub to Brandon Moist.
Yep, exactly. I think Angus's link is in the chat. Brandon Moist, I did not have your link in the chat. On accident, but if you guys type in Brandon Moist, they'll come up. He's the only Moist on the internet.
If you type in Drown God, you'll probably come to his channel. So
Drown God or World Class Bullshitters Moist, you'll find it.
I like Drown God. That should be your Twitter name, Drown God.
Drown God.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I was going through your channel when I was making that episode with you in it, Brandon, and I found that little thing you did, like moist, and then like MOIST. I was like, oh my god, this is perfect because it's like, trying to find clips without having to like waste time researching to find clips, and that was like perfect.
Yep.
And if you have any Geeks and Gamers fans in here, there's a whole episode devoted to Geeks and Gamers. I think you'll love who I cast Jeremy as and why, and little jokes I did at him. But it has legitimate extrapolation, like what I'm taking from the characters to apply to people. So it was a fun thing. I still got 2 episodes to do, but just haven't had any motivation after those last 4 episodes.
Yeah, well, hold on, real quick in the chat. So we're still going to be going on for a little bit, but if you guys have questions for me about my take on, what I think about season 1 and halfway into season 2 so far, let me know, or let Brandon Moist and Angus know. They'll be the ones filtering the chat to not, make sure I don't get spoilers in there. But because I want to see what you guys are curious, because a lot of people, when I said I was going to do this, I was going to do recaps of this after season 8. People really want to see my take. I'm like, that's good. I thought people wouldn't be interested anymore. They'd be like, who cares? We know what happens. No, so I am. So okay. So far, I can't at all see any signs of it going downhill. So far, it's really good. Like even Arya, I like her. I like what happens with her somehow. They keep on calling her boy all the freaking time. Boy, you stupid boy. And then Talon's like, she's a girly idiot.
Hey, Rookie, really quick, I got an update for you. I don't know if you saw my comment on your tweet for this stream. And I said, Nerdrotics, come join us now. I sent him the link. And he says, I'll be listening. Currently rearranging Nerdrotic Studios. Very busy crucifying action figures. Cheers. So, nice. Nerdrotic is listening in, or will be. So,
no, thanks, Nerdrotic. Appreciate that. Yeah, with the action figures, that'd be kind of funny to watch, to be honest. That's all good. But no, so for season 1, does any questions come up in the chat, guys?
Let me see here. Goldfinger says, "Naked dragons, Angus. You got a fetish."
Oh yeah, dude. Oh man, that'd be perfect.
I will say, Angus. Even after that, like just seeing her walk with the dragons on her shoulders, I'm like, that's fucking tight. Because it's just like she's just walking, like, yeah, you have your parrots or your cat or some shit. I got a fucking dragon.
And dude, speaking of women and stuff, like, I talk about this all the time, where it's like, don't play into the SJWs talking their talk about strong female characters. Just watch shit. I never watched Game of Thrones again, like, wow, there's a good female to male ratio. I only thought about it after the fact, with this being a topic nowadays. But yeah, like, you'll see the whole show. The main 2 characters are women. Cersei is the bad person for the most of it, and Daenerys as the good, generally speaking. And yeah, and men carried the show. I think mostly still carry the show, even though it's become a pop sensation. We definitely, men for the most part, any girls that got into it were probably because, if they didn't read the books, is because their boyfriends or husbands like, oh, come on, I'm watching this. So they're just sludging through it, and they see Jason Momoa and like, oh, now I'm interested, or, whatever.
You could argue that more men get killed than women.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's like the two main leads for the whole show is women, and so it's like
she's a freaking horse heart. Sansa, I mean, being in her situation, she's I can see that she really is pissed at what she's in right now. Like, she's like, God damn it, I want to get the fuck out of here. I want to kill him. I want to get out of here. All this, but she's got to submit for now. I kind of would like her to be doing more stuff, but she's just kind of there going, oh, I'm sorry, Joffrey. So I can't really take much from her at the moment. But Arya, like, I am liking her arc so far. She's just a kid. How old is she? 10, 9, 8?
Who?
Arya? Or Aya?
It's hard to, I can't remember, because like in the books their ages are a lot younger and they stay younger for the most part. With this, it's like you only have so much time to film every year, so it's like they're actually aging with the story.
Yeah. Which I think actually helped the acting, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I will say, because like, right,
they made it more authentic. They're growing up on the show, and
well, I like how even right now, like halfway into season 2, like she has changed so much from the first bit, because she would always spout out whatever she wants, right away, and now she's kind of learned to hold that back a little bit, and but not in the like, oh, princessy way. It's no, that's just not the right move at the moment type of thing. And she's like, okay, I got to be smarter on my feet. Like when they were looking for Gendry or whatever the hell his name is, one of the bastard sons.
Yes.
And the guy gets killed. It's like, where is he? Like, you already found him. You just killed him. He loved that.
Rookie, couple shout outs here to the chat here as we're checking it out. Nerdrotic is listening, and if you are not subscribed to Nerdrotic, please do subscribe to Nerdrotic. And a couple other of your fans have been sending in questions here, and I shall give you a question from Blue-Eyed Scorpio. And it says, did you catch Littlefinger's story about the Mountain and the Hound? The guy
I do remember that. Yeah, they got fireplace, right?
Yes.
He's playing with the fireplace and something, and then burned him there. I don't remember the mountain that much in this so far. He hasn't been in it that often, but the hound's growing on me.
Exactly. And that is and Blue-Eyed Scorpio, catching names is important, and I believe that Gary from Nerdrotic would also agree, as a diehard Game of Thrones fan. Surly Unicorn says, Hell Gary, people.
Yep, Hell Gary, thank you for dropping by Nerdrotic, listening in. Yeah, this is my take. This is my first time walking through Game of Thrones. So, and just going through it after listening to you, Doomcock, Mahler, everybody talk about season 8, just got me so curious into how this was so suggested, and now it's so deterred. It's like, don't watch it, and I'm like, I need to watch it now, and I'm very curious, and I'm glad that I'm seeing it now with everybody that has seen it. Everybody's seen it now. So
Rookie's embodying the American spirit of rebellion against general consensus, and it makes me think in a small way of like those memes where it's like man fires shotgun at tornado or something, like holding a flag and stuff.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't do what I want.
I'll do what I want. Hell yeah. But yeah, I'll say with the names, I do like how the show has so much lore with it, as far as every character is telling a lot of stories here and there, or like any conversation, like just a random conversation could be vital, or it's telling something about the past, but it's helping the present right now. Like it's like they built lore within lore is what I call it. Like when they have the past kings and the past fathers, the past creatures and dragons and whatever. I'm like, that adds to this story, even though that's not in this story now. That story is part of the story, and that's like when Sidious is talking to Anakin about Darth Plagueis, like that type of thing, but on an extreme scale. Like I do kind of like that, and then it's like we have to kind of pay attention.
And also, for those of you tuning in from that have recently found Rookie from Nerdrotic, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed. Rookie has just got over he's gotten over 1,000 subs at 13K, right? 1,300 right now. Let's get that up. Let's get that up to 1,500, folks.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thanks for the shout out. And while you're at it, follow Brandon Moist and Black Angus reviews. Black Angus's reviews. I was gonna say something else. Angus reviews.
Moist Visions Inc. is my YouTube. Brandon Moist is my name, but it is Moist. Moist Visions Inc. is my YouTube channel.
Yeah, if these two guys used to do some cool Game of Thrones commentary, if you guys probably look at those from back then, that was before they saw season 8. That was leading up to season 8. So
you will see me basically, if it was the YouTube version of violence, screaming into a mic, defending the first 2 episodes against Proper Jeremy. Proper
Jeremy.
Actually, I'll get him on the next one.
Was screaming. I was literally screaming at him at one point, being like, "No, this is the development we need. We need this." And then we were given the long night, and then I'm just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Dude, Robert Jeremy didn't like in-game or Infinity War, so it's like it took him this long to like Iron Man. So like, are you really gonna trust his film criticism?
I mean, maybe. I kind of want to hear his take on some of this stuff when I get past like season 2 or 3, maybe. But are there any more questions in the chat?
Yeah, there is one here from Smooth Jam, California. It says, "What families are you supporting?" Personally, I was on Team Baratheon. Hashtag Stannis the Manus. That is a good hashtag. I enjoy that. Although I did have a soft spot for Tyrells, especially Marjorie, and I feel like a lot of people have a soft spot for Natalie Dormer.
Wait, who's the Tyrell?
Marjorie. That would be the Tyrells, Sir Loras and Marjorie. At this point where you're at, you will get introduced to more Tyrells, hopefully in the future.
Wait, are the Tyrells the one with the like 12-year-old kid that's sucking on the chick's nipples?
Oh, that's
the Aaron.
That's House Aaron.
That's Ryan Johnson.
At this point, I'll say my 2 cents. At this point, I was Team Stark, definitely Team Stark, but also had a soft spot for Dany, just being like, hey, that'd be pretty awesome if she came over.
See,
at this point, when I'm watching it, I'm complete Team Stark, basically.
Well, that makes sense, but I'm not really for any specific families. I'm more for specific characters. Like I'm kind of for Robb Stark, but only kind of. Like, it's just kind of interesting to see how he's going, I guess. But Arya seems pretty cool right here. The Hound, like I said, I'm kind of growing on him. Tyrion, I'm liking him. I like him and Bronn. Their dynamic's pretty cool. What are some other characters? Theon, like I'm curious to see what happens with him. Like I'm not rooting for him, but I'm curious to see what happens with him. Same with Jaime, kind of, because he's just been thrown to the back a little bit. Cersei has been noticeably different ever since Joffrey's like, you do that again, and you're pretty much going to be killed. And she's been like way different. And then Tyrion walks in and keeps on doing all these things. She's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? She's just like, what can I do now? What can I even do? And Littlefinger, he seems to be more freaked out than he used to be. Like he was so confident with his stuff, and now he's like, God damn it, anybody could kill me now. So he's got to try. Like his secrets aren't working like they used to. It seems at the moment. I don't know. Caitlyn, I don't like her. I don't like her at all.
You don't like Catelyn? Oh my god.
You don't like Catelyn Stark?
No, she's a bitch.
I was kind of like, I'm just like, I liked her for a point, and then I hated how she treated Jon Snow, and I was just like,
in general, I hate how she treats anyone. She just seems like a mean person in general. I don't really like her, but Joffrey, he's kind of funny in how he's bad. Like, I liked how some expectations were subverted when Tyrion sent the 2 whores to his room. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let the kid that hasn't had anything, actually get some, and maybe he'll blow off some steam and chill. He's like, no, I'm gonna make you guys hurt each other. It's like, what the fuck? Whoa, you'd rather have that happen than get some poon? Like, come on.
Well, just so you know, Teresa Martin, I think, was startled by, I think, maybe Black Angus and I's take on Catelyn Stark. He's like, what? But Dookie Shoes says Lord Tywin.
Dookie Shoes?
Lord Tywin.
Lord Dookie Shoes.
Yeah.
Tywin seems pretty cool so far. I mean, as far he seems like he's got that honor aspect, typical the type of respectable one that you see in movies like King Arthur or something. I like that. The character that Angus cast me as, the face changer or whatever, the
Jack and Hagar.
I was gonna say the face hugger, but that's not right.
Jack and Hagar.
The Jakamaha, the what?
Jack and Hagar. H,
I'm gonna call him the Red Guard. He's wearing red armor.
It's called the Faceless Man.
Yeah, the Faceless Man. That's probably right. You don't want to do the Red Guard.
I like his attitude so far. Like just he's like, he's pretty confident. They haven't really shown his skills yet or anything so far, but he seems very cocky. I'm like, okay, he's like, name 3 people and I'll kill him. And
he gives you 3 kills.
That's pretty specific and cool. He's like, yeah, I can just do it. Name whoever you want and I will kill them. I'm like, damn, okay, I want to see that. It's cool. Yeah,
as a player of Call of Duty, I'd be like, oh, that's 3 free kills. Let's go. Let's get that KDR up.
Hell yeah. The kill and death ratio. Hell yeah. But no, I don't know if I'm forgetting some characters. I probably am.
Well, Rookie, I say Smooth Jam California, Natalie Dormer would have been amazing Captain Marvel. So that is Marjorie Tyrell, Natalie Dormer, a Captain Marvel. And he remembers hearing rumors that almost happened back in 2015. That would have been actually pretty interesting to see Natalie Dormer as Captain Marvel. That would have been pretty cool.
She was the girl that was going to be married to Renly?
Yes, okay. That is her, yes.
Okay.
She starred in a horror film about, I think it's called The Forest or something, but I'm pretty sure it's about Aokigahara Forest over in Japan, the suicide forest. It's a disturbing thing, but I watched it once and I was like, oh yeah, that's Marjorie. But then it took the whole horror thing out for me because I'm just like, oh, look, it's Marjorie.
That's funny. Is there any more questions in the chat?
I say Surly Unicorn does not give a question, but says Charles Dance is fantastic.
Yes.
Real YT, Charles Dance is a sexy man too. Yes. Yeah, so they are talking about Charles Dance, and that would be Tywin Lannister.
Yeah, he's also in, he's the doctor in Aliens 3, or Alien 3.
Pretty sure he's in the new Godzilla movie too.
Yeah. I was talking about that on Links. I was like, they really missed an opportunity since I think HBO is owned by Warner Brothers. Ultimately, they really missed a chance to market a Game of Thrones actor, and they showed him a couple times, but they really should have pushed that over 11 because we're still waiting. Just now we're going to have season 3 for Stranger Things, but yeah. What was I going to say? With Catelyn, I don't know. I think rewatch, especially when you become a parent someday, Rookie. I think you'll get a different take on a lot of these characters, or just rewatch, knowing a few other married and or parent friends through YouTube. You'll get a different take from hearing our commentary. I've never viewed I guess early on when I watched the show, I'd view Cersei as a bad person or so. I bought into how he generally watched these type of shows, the setting wise, but it's medieval fantasy, but Game of Thrones is not the typical anything for this type of setting. And rewatching, I really pay attention to the interaction between Cersei and Robert Baratheon, and that kind of looking back on their early marriage and we did love each other at some point and it just didn't work for us for whatever reason. And you see that kind of sorrow between them, even though they hate each other. I thought that's very interesting to pick up on. And Catelyn, you're taking her as a bitch. It's definitely reasonable, especially through interaction with Jon Snow. They enlighten you more slowly but surely with Catelyn's own words about how she felt about Jon Snow.
Honestly, this has nothing to do with Jon Snow. It's how she interacts with everybody. With everyone, she seems like a bitch.
Well, you gotta think, I'm not sure how much I'm trying to think back to those seasons, but you learn a little bit of the weariness of just dealing with the southern kingdoms and the capital, her own father's dealings and whatnot before that. Because I think they tell you right from the start, her the one she was supposed to be betrothed to was actually Ned Stark's older brother. And so they kind of just kept the alliance through Ned, but they didn't know each other when they got married. So it was kind of arranged marriages forced on her. But they grew accustomed to each other.
Tully, right?
Yeah, she's a Tully. And so part of it is just awareness of like the Game of Thrones from a family that tries to be very honorable and have integrity, and also awareness of the South, and her being a mother, especially with the trauma of Bran and her having to deal with all this outside shit to help like Robb and the Spell of the Five Kings going on. It's detracting from her home life with her kids. And then shit goes awry later on. So it's just like she never has a moment's rest, and I think you'll really pick up on her. If not on this initial rewatch, if you do rewatch, I think you'll pick up on a lot of stuff, little nuances. Like you'll there's a lot of characters you'll see different on second viewing, in my opinion. And with life events just getting older, even if you're not a parent or married, I think you'll pick up on that as well. It's just my take, but yeah, like. Yeah, there's really no characters I hate besides Joffrey. I think he's a well-acted piece of shit. The actor actually like quit acting because he knows like he's too typecasted now with playing that role that everyone hates, reasonably so. He's just kind of
like, be the hero in the next big Star Wars film.
No, it's funny too because his name's Jackie Gleason, which is the famous honeymooner. I'm trying to think who else. The Hound. I never bought into the Hound. I think he's overrated, especially when he gets to season 8. It's like that's it. Like,
I'm saying he's growing on me as far as I thought he was going to be a nothing character.
Oh yeah,
he's like subtly helping Sansa, but still he just seems to be trying to make things peaceful enough or merciful for people, not trying to drag out any suffering or anything, trying to avoid some blood a little bit in his own way.
But yeah, Sansa's the one I changed my mind on the most in the moment watching the show as it was developing.
Definitely. Well, Rookie, in the chat here, Phelan Reacts says, Catelyn, I have mixed feelings about her. Absolutely. That's what we have been discussing. Mixed feelings on Cat.
So, I mean, I could change my mind. I bet I will. Like, there's, I don't know if anybody, I'm trying to think about anybody so far that I've changed my mind on. Like Cersei, in a way. Like, I can see that she's not just the mad bitch or something, but I don't really know her as that. She's like, yeah, she's got a temper, and she's screwed over Ned Stark and whatnot, but she also kind of didn't want him to be just simply killed. She was like, no, dude, why'd you try to kill him? Like, why'd you kill him? And then with other things, like she cares about her daughters and her kids, like she does care. So I mean, I do see some good with her, like good side. And then she was brought there against her will or something when she was younger, married off to somebody young.
Yep, to Baratheon.
To Baratheon, yeah. And she's got her incest stuff, which I don't know if she feels bad
from the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, Smooth Jam California has a question for Black Angus and I. Who's our favorite characters in the books that might not be in the show? Smooth Jam says Victarion Greyjoy or Adrian Martell, and I will have to back up the Victarion Greyjoy. So, Black Angus, do you have a favorite character in the books that might not be in the show?
Oh, not in the show. I only read the books.
That's why I said Victarion Greyjoy. Yeah,
I only read the books once when I was deployed in Afghanistan. I loved them, and it definitely got me interested in the show. But I can't remember like nuances like that. I don't remember ever gravitating to any specific character. I just loved the world it was. And then watching the show is like, I'm able to now see come to life these characters in this world. But yeah, it's weird for me. Like some books, it's like, oh yeah, like. This is, I don't know, it's books written where it's like a universe and you're learning about all these characters, and it gets so big that book 4 and 5 are actually one book that were split in two. So it's like half of, or 5 is like only half of the cast of like of the story, and the other book 4 is like the other half. So I don't know, I never really gravitated to any character specifically. I just I like the story. Can't tell you honestly, sorry about that.
Well, Rookie, I'm anxious to hear. I have a thing I want to throw out here. So now, I was a diehard Walking Dead fan. So now we're going to tie this all together, Game of Thrones. Diehard Walking Dead fan through like seasons, probably 6, 7. I did watch season 7, and I had no problem with freaking Glenn taking Negan's bat to the head. No problem with it. But now, just the show has gone on. It's gone on. I can't tell you the last time I watched a Walking Dead episode, honestly, since season 8. And it's like on season 9 or 10 right now. I don't even know what it's at.
There's a movie coming in there.
Jeez, if there is, that's news to me.
How much can you do?
I always get the comics. The comic books, I read them religiously. Like, they are awesome. The comics are incredible. So now, Rookie, I'd like your take on this. Despite what you've heard about season 8, despite, season 7 and 8, might have been rushed and everything, are you glad, looking ahead, that they finally they just wrapped it up instead of letting it go?
Yes, actually. We were talking about this earlier on Anomaly Inc.'s stream, how I actually like finality. Okay, I like there to be an end, kind of. Like, I know they're going to try to do some prequel stuff or maybe spin-off things, which kind of continues it. But, I mean, as far as the main story continuing ends, I like it just ending instead of having more continuation. Because, I mean, more stuff can happen, but, like, why? Like, as long as you get the main story completed for the most part, you should be good. And it sounds like even though it wraps up in a way nobody likes, it still wraps up. So, not like that. I mean, I'll say that based on what everybody says, that it probably should have at least been twice as long.
HBO offered that budget to do it.
Yeah, I heard about all that stuff. But I guess if they did like 6 extra episodes or something, or a few extra episodes, that'd be more fitting, and then have it be completely done. But if it went 9 and 10, I don't know. Because it's like, a lot of people might really already just be like, God, Game of Thrones again. But then again, I don't know, because it's quite investing.
Well, Rookie, I want to bring this up, and I know people listening here might have watched Breaking Bad, so I want to call this. I know listening to Nerdrotic and Doomcock, and myself, honestly, my own views agreed with a lot of what they have said. With that, the fact that D.B. Weiss and Benioff in 2017 were offered, and they have accepted the Star Wars trilogy that they're going to produce. It's going to be coming out in a couple of years. That essentially deterred their focus from Game of Thrones. And it's just like, oh, well, let's just wrap this thing up and then let's go focus on Star Wars because we'll make more money doing that or whatever. Part of me, I'm gonna try to like step back. I think that's a big point, and I think Doomcock, Nerdrotic made a great point with that. But I want to bring in something else. I'm going to term this right now the Breaking Bad effect. Breaking Bad was essentially 5 seasons. The last season cut in half, and it wrapped it up perfectly. I feel like Weiss and Benioff, I have no information on this. This is just me speculating as a fan. Maybe watched Breaking Bad, being like, oh, that kind of wrapped up pretty quick. We can do the same with Game of Thrones. But the thing is, with Breaking Bad, you were following essentially like 3 or 4 main storylines, which they wrapped up in season 4 and in the first part of season 5. And so in the end, you only focus on Walter White and Jesse. Those are the 2 stories that you have hanging out there. How are they going to finish? So you focus on Walter White, Heisenberg, and Jesse. And you have like 6, 7, 8 episodes to wrap that up perfectly. Basically in 5 years, essentially is what it was. When you look at it. That's why I'm saying the Breaking Bad effect may have influenced Weiss and Benioff. It's just me completely speculating because I'm a diehard Breaking Bad fan. And for me, my ranking of TV shows is Breaking Bad number 1 and then Game of Thrones number 2. Game of Thrones, if they had a better ending, would have been number 1. But Breaking Bad is awesome. And I can also pull off a decent Heisenberg as I did my senior year in college for Halloween. So I'm biased, but Rookie, have you seen Breaking Bad?
No.
Oh my gosh.
It's in Walking Dead or Breaking Bad.
I don't want you should try The Walking Dead at all. It's just zombies are stupid. And they never the creator said he's never going to tell like what started or if they curing it or anything. Like there's no real resolution in the show. It's just fucking people living through undead shit. And it's just like you think that would unite everyone living, but no, you get all these little factions fighting each other and it's just stupid. It's wasting my I watched 2 seasons and I was like, yep, I got my fill. This is dumb. And people are like, oh damn, now it's falling apart. It's like, where'd you think he was gonna go? Like
Well, going back to the Breaking Bad thing, I think that's an interesting take on how it ends. But yeah, I agree that there's smaller characters. There's like 50 characters and storylines in Game of Thrones even now. Get season 2. Yeah, that seems like it would take a while to end. But I mean, in your guys' opinions, do you think they could have wrapped up a lot of storylines within like a few extra episodes, or
I do think they could have.
Like not wrapping everyone all in one episode, but like starting from episode 1 to season 8, some people's stuff would probably start to end, or come to a close, kind of, or something.
It makes no sense that they didn't just go the full 80 episodes. I'm sure they would have got paid more. HBO, of course, they offered full seasons because ratings are through the roof. They're getting all this watch time and revenue and more shit purchased. It made no sense that they just the only person I've heard offer this was Mad Max Movie Talk. Go check him out. He's awesome. He said he thinks that Lucasfilm dangled the carrot of Star Wars in front of Benioff and Weiss to better counteract competition because, like I said, HBO is Warner Brothers. So he thinks that was the incentive for them to cut the show early, because it doesn't make sense. Like, all he wants is like another 7 episodes for the last 2 seasons to like really give us the space we need for closure. Like, of course we don't want the show to end, but we know it's like, all right, if you just keep this going and going, it's like it's gonna get old and dumb. You need like even if it's the same universe, you just need like something different take. Like, you need finale, like you say.
It sounds like the way that they had the long night start, it sounded like they could have done something where like it starts on episode 3, sure, but then I guess where the initial battle happens, but then throughout the rest of the season or the next few episodes, like there's other battles that will happen like in smaller portions throughout. It's not just all one huge battlefield. So you still get like, the different characters cutting around, the traveling, different planning, different alliances, kind of, if people split up and still to fight the undead army. It kind of sounds like that would be an interesting way to end it, rather than here's one big battle and then that's it. Like, then just, but then there's back to the Game of Thrones stuff. It's like, yeah, it seems very bitter, like it didn't happen the way you wanted, but it's like, it's also just okay, but what does it matter now? You defeated the like human life threatening threat, and now it's just back to petty stuff. Huh.
Yeah. Well, Rookie, just to hit the chat up here really quick. Blue-eyed Scorpio says that Rookie, keep in mind that Ned Stark's death wasn't just to kick off the conflict, but to keep in mind the tone that anybody could be killed, which I think is a great point.
Yeah, and actually like that.
And the real YT, listener over there in the UK, I believe in the UK, says that current American shows don't plan for the future. You need to have a timeline a little mapped out. And I think just my own 2 cents in this question here, I think Breaking Bad, they had an ending planned. They knew how it wanted to end, but with Game of Thrones, the books, the storyteller hasn't finished the story.
Yeah, I think it was a Smooth Jam. I was saying, like, Game of Thrones has an end. Like, the show ending is going to be the book ending. It's just going to be possibly better delivered. So he's got the last 2 books to like finish.
George, he said on his Not a Blog that there are at least 3,000 pages coming. And if I believe in 3,000 pages, he can wrap us up.
Yeah, like everything you got, like plot wise, major plot stuff, is going to be in the books. There's probably going to be more stuff. There might be some characters that didn't make it through from the books onto the show that'll still be continued. Little stuff like the Hound and what's her name, the night. What's her name? Phasma.
Brienne.
Yeah, like their stories might be different than the show, stuff like that. But yeah, the major plot points are all going to be the same. Like they finished the show with his outline. It was just he doesn't have the books done. So yeah. But yeah, going back to Breaking Bad, Rookie, definitely watch Breaking Bad. It's such a good character story between Walt and Jesse, and even Walt's home life, having this double life and stuff. It's really good, and it's actually based on a real meth chef from, I think, Mississippi, who got busted finally. So it's got, some realism to it. And the Better Call Saul spinoff, I've only seen the first, I think, 2 seasons. I need to catch up. But even that spinoff with that kind of comedy relief character is so well made. There's videos of lawyers watching clips of the show with like the legal aspect of the show. And they're like, yeah, like whoever's writing the show is like working with the lawyer. Like this is like how it's done.
And it's the same people that wrote Breaking Bad, which is the best part. And and Rookie, I know with film, I know you're very into like how a film is shot. Their Breaking Bad is a study in how to take an like they will just like in the beginning of an episode shoot just an object, maybe like a teddy bear. They'll just like focus on the teddy bear, and then boom, like there will be in the background action going on, or like storytelling, people talking, but then they'll go to the main credits, and then boom, you're just like, why the hell did they show that teddy bear? 40 minutes later in the episode, you're just like, oh my god, that was incredible.
Yeah, well, no, they'll do it for like the intro.
Yeah,
scenes. They'll like do like black and white footage with like just like an item highlighted by color.
Exactly.
And you're like, what the fuck is the deal with this thing? Like, what has happened?
Like a Schindler's kind of. You highlight one thing to really get the emotion going.
Yeah, and it's like you're just like, what the fuck is the deal? And then they finally deliver, and you're like, holy shit! And then he'll keep these little mementos, and there's so many ways you can interpret the things that they do, and it's a great character study. I think it should be, if you're going to film school or something, this should definitely be required viewing, just for like storytelling, writing, so they make everything just worthwhile and have meaning to it. Even like side characters like Mike and stuff, the chicken guy, his backstory, the twins, all this shit. Hank Schrader, his bitch wife.
Oh my god! What we're saying here, Rookie, is you need to watch Breaking Bad. But just to get back to the comments here, and there is a comment that by a fan that is getting a lot of traction here. And that is from Teresa Martin, and she says, George R. Martin talked about the butterfly effect of characters being in the books, not the show. That will change how it happens. And I think that's from us book readers like Black Angus and I, like where we still have the faith that at the end, a little pun at future seasons to come. We still believe that this will, I think in the books it will still be a great ending. I think how the show ends, I have no problem with, but just how freaking rushed and how just like turn of a freaking dime it happened. Like, cool, whatever happened, it's okay, it's all right, it's okay. I don't hate how it happened, I don't hate what happened, but I hate how it happened. And Rookie, that's like. You being into this already, and you're catching up on the characters, it's rejuvenating. And people in the chat have said this before. I think Teresa Martin, the real YT, may have said it before, that it's rejuvenating to hear you rewatching this series. It makes me. I've watched the show like twice over already. I've read the books. I'm reading the extra stuff. I'm rejuvenated. It's like I literally, like, when we end the stream, I want to watch Game of Thrones.
Well, I'm glad I can help with everybody feeling like that, because everybody seemed very broken after season 8. It seemed, and now I feel like I'm the innocent one, just approaching this, like approaching your fire. I'm like, I'm gonna go into this.
You're like that one virgin. You're like 25. You're like, dude, you haven't had sex yet, dude. Like, you don't know how awesome it is. You keep hearing like the sex stuff. I hear it's great. I keep hearing it on the town. Everyone's on the street. Like, you gotta try out sex. I'm like, what are you talking about? And boom, Rookie's finally getting into it. And it's like, now you see what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
he's like seeing the sky just a little bit bluer and the grass is a little bit greener, than he realized. It's funny. But no, one thing I want to point out for you to be cognizant of, I never picked up on it in the end of season 3. I think Brandon was aware of it. But I think it's season 5 or 6. Just remember this: church. There's music to these sequences in that season, especially, and in there is one with the sword of Ned Stark. I think in season 4, there's a great musical sequence there. So the sword, and then the church, and then the long night. They got some great musical pieces that just really stand out and set the tone. And I'm surprised at how long they make these pieces while dialogue or action's going on. It's just like, wow, like I just want to keep hearing this song by itself and just like be in that moment of like, wow, what is happening? And then seeing it, knowing it, rewatching it just stands out more because they don't play piano in the Game of Thrones music. They don't play piano. So when you hear piano, it's like something special is happening. Just keep that in mind.
Okay. Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, it's like they set themselves like it's like John Williams. It's like John Williams music. And like when I watched Infinity War, when Thanos, spoiler for anyone whose last 2 years hasn't seen Infinity War, walks out of the once he teleports to Titan 2 and he walks out of his hut and sits on his porch and looks at the sun. That music, I was like, oh my god, did they get the Game of Thrones guy on this? And no, it wasn't.
Are you telling me that Thanos survives? I'm just
no, but yeah, that last scene, that music, I thought it was Game of Thrones. Like they have such cool music, and yeah, I don't know another way to compare it. It's just like they make music that is like it's clearly modern. It's for a show, like especially like the na 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 na, but it feels like it could be in that universe. All the score, but with the piano, it's like they don't have that, so it's a little detail,
Exactly. Well, Rawan Djawadi, the composer, they have been doing a Game of Thrones like worldwide like tour, like with the orchestra, and I watched one on YouTube where it was like somebody filmed the whole thing, which is probably illegal, but they filmed the whole thing. I could enjoy it, and I did, and they did. He just like walked out, turned around, did the Night King thing, like put his arms up, turned around to the orchestra, and they went right into the Game of Thrones theme. And behind them is a screen that's showing like stuff from the series. And then he turned around at the end. He's just like, now I know at a concert people aren't supposed to cheer, but if there's a character on the screen, if there's a score that you like, I want you to get loud, scream, get excited. I want to hear you guys. These guys want to hear you. And so and then he turned around, he did the Stark theme. They did the Stark theme. And so it's like showing Jon Snow, Bran, Sansa, Arya, and people were like going nuts. And then when they did like the Lannister theme with the Reigns of Castamere, people are just like, oh shit! It's not like they're literally watching the orchestra perform, but they're watching on the screen behind them stuff from the show, and so they're going nuts. And I'm like, this guy, Rawan Djawadi, remember his name. Shout out to Breaking Bad. Remember my name. Say my name. But he will be one of the greatest. He will be up there with John Williams as one of the greatest composers of all time. I guarantee it. I will put $1,000 down on it right now. If there was a futures bet out there for it, I would put my money on it, and I would consider myself a degenerate gambler, but I would not care because I know it will.
Yeah, I almost went to one of the Game of Thrones shows at Nationwide Arena here in Columbus. I kick myself every time I think about it. Like, I don't think I had the money at the time, but I really, really wanted to see it. And I'm always keep my eyes open for the next tour that comes around, because if not Columbus, then maybe Cleveland or Cincinnati, or probably there before Kentucky. But definitely want to go see these shows. I've heard nothing but good shit. I think he did like Iron Man 3 and stuff, so he's got a range to him. Game of Thrones is his thing, and I would love to see him come to Star Wars since John Williams is leaving. We're gonna get more. Maybe D&D will actually pull him for their trilogy. That'd be really cool.
That's one of the few hopes that I have for that trilogy.
Yeah, especially with the sequel trilogy, because I read the spoilers going into Force Awakens, and this because I wanted to be able to, get deeper criticism watching it the first time. If I knew the plot, like, all right, see how it's executed. I really wanted to pay attention to the music of the fight sequence. because you have Duel of the Fates, you have like the Vader, Luke scene on the Death Star, very huge soaring music, and the music is so underwhelming, and like John Williams is just like what he might have just got like the episode 4 through 6 soundtrack and just kind of retooled it here and there. That's what he essentially did. And so I just want some new lifeblood. Like even the Rogue One guy, that guy only had 6 weeks short notice to make the soundtrack for Rogue One, and he did quite well with that amount of time to make Star Wars. So
well, Rookie, in the chat here, just to give another shout out to the chat, so the Unicorn says the soundtrack is consistently excellent throughout the series, and I'm excited to hear what you think about the soundtrack. But we also have a special guest in the chat section, and that would be one Proper Jenny, a.k.a. Proper Jeremy.
Hey, what's up, Proper? What is up? I'll have you on one of my next Game of Thrones season recaps or something after the second or third one, probably. And no, with the music thing, I will say that it doesn't sound generic, at least. Like that's one thing I noticed, because in some shows and movies, you hear a similar type of soundtrack that's like, oh, I can just get that same soundtrack, like ones that I play in my videos, and they do not have that. It's it seems like it fits whatever scene they're doing, and I like that.
Yeah, that's one thing. Keep in mind, just listen to the soundtrack. And one thing, it actually going forward, when you get to season 3, especially with no spoilers, listen to the soundtrack, listen to the themes of the characters, because there will be a scene in season 3 that you need to know the soundtrack to really be like, oh shit. You'll have that moment like, oh, what is going on?
One thing though, and it's not really a dig at the composer or anything, but the end of season 8, the soundtrack, it's like, are you this dumb that you're going to use the theme to actually send them off on these different, tangents in the plots of these characters? Literally, there's like 3 or 4 characters they keep going like da 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 da, and it's like, really, you can't just make
music? Like one character like that, I'd have been all right. I'd have been cool. Like if it had been like somebody sitting on the throne and it just zooms in, it does that, and then it just ends. That'd been cool.
That'd be kind of funny if does Sam live? No, don't tell me. That I was gonna say so far. It
Sam
seems
gets a White Walker spear up his butt.
The poor guy. Wah, 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 wah. No, I think that pretty much covers my thoughts so far.
Yeah. Let me see. Smooth Jam asks thoughts on the Great One himself, Hodor.
Who?
Hodor. The simple one, the big dude that carries Bran around.
Am I supposed to think something about him? He's not done anything.
If you don't fix up, oh my god, you're about to have your heart ripped out.
Yeah. Once you get to season 6, you're like, oh, Hodor.
In the future, you will have. Just pay attention to Hodor. That's all I'm going to say.
How is it? He's only been in like 3 scenes. What are you talking about?
Shows that have made me cry. I will not say the first one, but the other one was Game of Thrones, and it was a moment that in the future will happen. I will say that.
Okay, just based on so far, though. Just based on so far, he's only been in like 3 scenes, so I have no thoughts.
Get ready.
I got some fond memories once my squad got into Game of Thrones. That was one of the things one of the sergeants loved doing, like Hodor, and like he'd mock you for like being a dumbass.
So is he supposed to be like a human Pokemon? Like he gets assigned a name and then that's all he can say?
Like, sort of, but it takes a long time, but you'll figure out why. And it's kind of weird and cool. And of course, they never address that, how it happens or why or what it could mean for the story.
Yeah, mind mushed by a witch or something. Like
spoiler without
you'll
context.
See.
I have
you'll see.
Doorstop.
That's hilarious.
So, spoiler without context.
Okay, but I don't really know what else to say about it unless there's more questions in the chat from anybody?
We got Smooth Jam California about the Hodor upset already. Very upset.
Smooth Jam says Sam becomes Samantha by the end for representations. That would have been perfect. I hate Sam.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Real IT about Hodor. Yeah, we're not gonna go there. We might have to have a therapy session in the future. So
yeah, I never
they
got down with
Hodor for the future.
Yeah, I never got down with Hodor, but yeah, even someone like me that I'm like, I don't give a shit. I was like, oh, Hodor.
Like I said, only 2 TV shows have made me cry, and I will not say the first.
Was it Twilight?
No, it's a TV show.
Not Twilight.
What's something?
Touch
I will say the first. It was Breaking Bad when it ended because I was fucking upset.
You're gonna say Touched by an Angel or something.
I was gonna say Breaking Bad because I was just like at the end.
I was about to say like RuPaul's Drag Race.
No, like I literally sat at my desk. I sat at my desk and I was watching it in my apartment in college. I sat at my desk and I'm like watching it on my laptop. I'm like, this is the end. I'm like, no.
They didn't make any spin-off.
And then 2 weeks later, I went out for Halloween and I dressed as Heisenberg. I went to class with a fucking shaved head, wearing glasses, goatee, wearing New Balance shoes, as he does. And I dressed up like Walter White went to class, my freaking history professor. He's just like, he looked at me. He's like, oh my God, you're Walter White. And I'm like, say my name. And he's just like, Heisenberg. He's like, I gotta take a picture. He's like, can I send this to my wife? And like, I'm like, I took a selfie with my professor before class started. And then the whole time I'm just like, I raised my hand, even if I didn't have to answer a question. I just raised my hand. He's like, do you have thoughts, Heisenberg? I'm like, let's go. And then that night we had a party at my house, and I wore a hazmat suit and did the whole Heisenberg thing.
Hey, Smooth Jam says, didn't want to spoil anything, but Hodor's great one-on-one fight against the Mountain was legendary. So yeah, look forward to that, Ricky.
He can fight.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
He was Hodor.
Yeah, you don't fuck with Hodor.
Hodor of House Hodor.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Hodor.
Yeah, so I think probably next weekend we'll do a number 2 because I think I'll have season 2 done by then. So I'm gonna
do a number 2.
Do a number 2 together. Don't worry.
You are halfway through
it. Dude, you definitely need to make a thumbnail incorporating that. Like have number 2. Have number 2 from Austin Powers. Have like I don't know, a toilet or something to do with poop, and then
I'll put Mr. Hanky on there. From South Park.
There you go.
You need to have like golden shit because the season 1 through 4 is gold.
Products listening.
Season
make it grow.
Golden.
All right, but yeah, I'm gonna close out now. We've been going for a little over 2 hours on this recap. This has been a good conversation. I like this. In the chat, I'll be doing this again probably next weekend. I'll probably invite both you guys back and maybe one or two extra people on the panel. Probably one more. I'll probably add one more person per season or something. Like I'll grow the panel. What?
You should get Doomcock.
Doomcock, yeah, that'd be cool. Doomcock or Neurotic. If you guys want to stop by, that'd be cool. I think when we get to the season 2-1, I'll invite proper Jenny. Probably makes sense for number 2. And then Teresa on number 3, and we'll see. But thanks for coming by, guys. Thank you very much. This has been fun, and see you guys later. Yeah.